I'm not teaching, I'm publicly learning. But hi and welcome to Learning for the Life in UK test part 360, Glossary part 2, while doing risk training, and if you participate in the risk training, it's at your own risk. We had done already a few. We were getting arson explained. The next thing is arson. Arson. The criminal act of deliberately setting fire to a building. That's why it's called an arsonist. So it's someone setting fire, not the other word, but someone setting fire. What is arsenic? That's a chemical substance. The other one is also called a pyromane. That's enough words to confuse. Arson. Arson means the criminal act of deliberately setting fire to a building. That's arson. Now that is what Emily Pankhurst did. We're going actually back to it. We're going to talk a bit about criminality and self-harm. The Women's Social and Political Union, they wanted that women get the right to vote in the 1860s, in the 1890s, in the 1910s, 1903, in the 1900s. There were the Women's Social and Political Union, and they committed crimes and civil obedience and crimes and self-harm. For example, they chained themselves to railings, smashed windows, and committed arson. And also hunger strike. And the good part of the story, basically, at the end, the woman got the right to vote. So arson is setting fire to a building, which is, of course, a criminal act and illegal. Next thing is, we're going on with criminality, is assault. The criminal act of using physical force against someone or for attacking someone. For example, hitting someone. Assault is the criminal act of using physical force against someone. The assault is the physical force or the attack itself. It is assault, so attacking someone. For example, to hit someone is an assault. It's also illegal, it's a criminal act. When we're having bank holiday, the day when most people have an official day off work and many businesses are closed, a bank holiday can also be called a public holiday. Bank holiday is the day when most people have free, they are off work, and they are sometimes also called public holiday. In BC, that means before Christ, referring to the number of years before Jesus Christ was born, used as a time reference. For example, 55 before Christ, Julius Caesar tried to conquer Britain, and he wasn't successful. When a bishop, a senior member of a clergy in the Christian religion, often in charge of the churches in a particular area. So, bishop, a senior member of a clergy in the Christian religion, often in charge of the churches in a particular area. So, a bishop is someone high in the order of the Christian religion, and sometimes in charge of multiple churches in a particular area. So not just the person in charge of a church, but of multiple churches in a whole area. Boom. A sharp rise in salary. Very often in business activity or the economy. Also the post-war boom in Britain. I'm not sure if it happened in Britain. They talk maybe during the swing 60s of a boom. Now let's go to these 2 pages back. First, what was in Britain since 45? We are not speaking about a boom. Migration. Social changes. But I would classify the 60s as a boom because people were better off, could buy cars and consumer goods. So that would be a boom. A sharp rise in something very often in business activity or the economy. And when we're having, again, something out of criminality, criminology, out of the area of crime, and that is brutality, and it is behavior towards another which is cruel and violent and causes harm. These are again not the 100% definitions, these words are also used a little bit different, but it is behavior towards another which is cruel, so a cruel behavior, a violent behavior, and that often causes harm. By-election. An election held in the parliamentary constitution or local authority area to fill a vacancy. See also general election. That is a by-election. I think I understood, I mentioned it one time. An election held in a parliamentary constituency or local authority area to fill a vacancy. See also general election. What page? If there's a vacant seat somewhere, then there can happen a by-election, and I don't really understand it. When in one singular area there's a little election happening, so not the whole parliament has a general election, not the whole country is voting in, but just there's one vacant seat of the members of the parliament, and then just one area of the country votes again. The cabinet governed. No. Let's do that then the next time, starting with cabinet, and then we can go on where we already worked in. So if you're just here for the news of the new, then you can come back for the part 3 of the glossary. You're going to need 10, 15, 20 parts. 10 parts. That's it, if you were just here for that. Now we're going to do risk training, and if you participate in risk training, then it is at your own risk. We and the next standing wide apart, not wide apart, a bit more travel wide apart, always stable. Hands next to us, form to fists, and we bring them down. And we're having 3 rules. The first rule is that we're stopping immediately as soon as we feel pain. The second rule is that we are going only as fast as we can go with a little bit of effort. Next exercise, hands from the fists and not to the inside. The outside, that was just a spotlight, now a flashlight. The third rule is that we are not overdoing it. We just want to strengthen the muscles and tendons and joints, not to exhaust them. And we're having quite a lot of exercises, so you can also skip a few. These first ones are a bit to warm up. The next exercise, the T-Rex in the morning, hands out, flat hands, and down and up. We're using these many exercises also to warm up for the other exercises. And with the related complex, and we're also doing a bit for the fingers and lower arms. It all belongs together. This here is the same muscle as written. So just an example. Because we're coming back to that later. Now first not the cautious big bang, so we're going to do not the T-Rex and the gym, the cautious big bang now. So now the cautious big bang. We're placing the fingertips of one hand on top of the fingernails of the other hand. We're pressing a bit, and now we're opening. And we're closing again. And we're opening again. And we're closing. And switching, and doing the same. And that was the last time. Now we're doing the 4 days nuance Sylvia's director. Hands in front of us, and now we're opening, and we're closing. And we're opening, and we're closing. One last time. And guess what we're going to do with T-Rex in the gym, just for the tennis ball. We are having both hands next to us, and we are making strong fists, so press with moderate force, the hands together, the fingers together. and release. And again, we are pressing with moderate force and releasing. And we are pressing a last time. And releasing. And now the bascule bridge. Both hands next to us, and we're bending them at the knuckles. And we're opening again. One last time. Now you might skip this exercise for frog testing the water temperature. Hands next to us, and we're bringing them down with flat fingers and up with strong fists. And down with flat fingers and up with strong fists. Down with flat fingers and again up with strong fists. And down and up, and then also last time. The claw. Hands next to us, and we're making claws. And we're opening again. And we're making again claws. We're holding it for 1-2 seconds. And we're opening again claws. And open again. And again claws. And you can again skip this exercise if you like to. Strong fists, bring the strong fists into flexion. And then out into extension with flat fingers. Again, in strong fists, flexion. Out, extension, flat fingers. In strong fists, flexion. Out, strong fists, extension. The last round, in strong fists, flexion. Out, extension, flat fingers. That's it. And the ice axe. Hand next to us, and we're bending it again at the knuckles. And we're pressing. Let's make the wave. Let's try the wave if it works. We're going one finger at a time. Maybe it's all right. And let's start on the other hand. Make it a bit more like a piano. I don't know. And the last exercise, the unfolding rocket boosters. We're having long arms, strong fists, we're staying still, and we're bringing these strong fists into flexion. And now into extension with flat fingers. And again in flexion and out extension and flat fingers. And again in strong fist flexion and out. Last one, in flexion, out extend. Let's end here. And relaxing exercise, we count with moderate force over the extension digital muscle. As I just said, it's the same muscle from here coming here, and then going to all these 4 fingers. That one comes here and goes to these 4 fingers. So it all works together. And the last one. Having 1 minute. What are we going to do in 1 minute? We're going to go to the gardens. So we were Q gardens, Sissinghurst, Kew Gardens, Sissinghurst, and then Hitcote, and then Crafts Castle, now in the REG Castle. In REG Castle. In REG Castle. Kew Gardens, Sissinghurst, Heidcote, Hitcote, Kew Garden, Sissinghurst, Hitcote, Craigcastle, Kew Garden, Sissinghurst, Hitcote, Craigcastle, Winghurst, in the Rye Castle. We will do it another time again. Thank you very much.